the last 15 years, I've done my best as the founder of Mindvalley to discover the best programs for human transformation and to bring them onto the Mindvalley platform. And we've brought such incredible hits that have changed the world, from the Silver Method to Lifebook to WildFit to Superbrain to millions upon millions of users all around the world. But never before have I had a program that is so dear to me, not because I discovered it outside, but because the program was developed internally in Mindvalley to solve one of my own biggest pains. And this is what you're going to be exploring with me today. By the end of this class, your entire definition of exercise, of physical health, of how long you expect to live, of how you think about the fat deposits on your body that you've been trying to shed, or how you think about that dream body you have, all of this is going to be disrupted. And the story of how this program, 10X, came to be is remarkable in itself. So let me step back a bit. In 2013, I decided I needed to start getting fit. So I joined a gym. I hired a personal trainer. And after 2 months with that personal trainer, I felt like, man, I was putting in a lot of time. I looked a little bit better, but the fat was still there. I still didn't feel comfortable taking off my shirt at the beach. I still looked at myself in the mirror and felt that I looked older than I wanted to look. And so I did the next thing. I started buying products from late night infomercials. The first program I bought was an extremely popular American program that said that you could transform your body over 90 days and get completely ripped if you were able to put in, get this, 60 to 90 minutes a day. Now don't get me wrong, this program got you results if you could put in 60 to 90 minutes a day for 90 days. Now guys, I was a father of a son. My daughter had just been born. I was the CEO of a company. I was a husband. I had so many things I needed to do. 90 minutes a day was insane. But still, I tried. I tried for 1 week and it wrecked me. It seriously wrecked me because that 90 minutes a day took away so much of my time. I didn't have time to spend with my kid. I didn't have time to catch up on my work, so I was sleeping later, and 1 week later, I gave it up. And it turns out the vast majority of people who buy programs like this give it up. It sits on a shelf. It is shelf improvement, not self-improvement. So I did the next thing. The same company then offered another program, this time using weights. 35 minutes a day, they promised. So I spent my money on that program. So I had to buy barbells. And now I was doing this program with barbells. And they promised that by using barbells, you shave off 45 minutes. So in 30 to 40 minutes a day, you get the results. It was good for 10 days. But on day 11, I messed up my back. Because look, if you are using barbells, okay, you need someone guiding you. I messed up my back and I was in agony for 1 month. The chiropractor bills itself were 5 times the cost of the program. So I was on the verge of giving up. I was going to the gym 1-2 hours a week. I wasn't getting results. And you know, I was using gym apps. So I was logging my weight. I was logging my reps. And every 3 months or so, I might see a little bit of a gain, but then it would disappear. Maybe if I took an extended holiday, and I felt like I was flatlining. I bought a third program, again, late night infomercial. This one was all about endurance exercise. So I remember it was October. I was living in Tallinn, Estonia. So I was literally going out in the cold. It was maybe 5 to 7 degrees because I had a small apartment back then. And I was doing these endurance exercises on my balcony. And it was amazing. It was fun. But after 7 days, I just couldn't keep it up anymore. I started to dread it. I started to dread going out in the cold, doing these exercises, and I felt that I plateaued. There was no changes happening. And that was the end with my experiment on fitness. I was chubby. I still had energy problems. I still had bad skin. I decided to accept my fate. Aging was a part of life. 3 years later, in 2016, I hit 40. And I remember waking up on my 40th birthday, looking at myself in the mirror and realizing that I'd failed in every one of my fitness goals. I was nowhere to the vision of the man I expected to be health-wise. My career was doing well. My mindset was doing well. Mindvalley was specializing in mind programs, so my mind was all there, but fitness just wasn't. Now, what happened next? If you've been following my story, you'll be familiar with. I discovered WildFit. WildFit was a food program that reoriented the way you eat. It transformed your relationship with food, and WildFit transformed my body. After 90 days of WildFit, I went from this to this, and you can see that transformation. I want to be really public about it. I lost a lot of weight, and this is what I looked like at the end of WildFit. Now, this was good. I'd lost weight, I was slim, but now I wanted a body that wasn't skinny. I wanted a body that actually looked good. I wanted to feel sexy. I wanted to be comfortable taking off my shirt at the beach. What you're going to see here is the story of how I finally found that workout protocol that worked, and how it was so powerful that it transcended anything I'd done before. And I'm talking about transcending the way a Tesla electric car transcends a horse. There is no other workout I care to do right now. What you're about to hear is the story of 10X, the most optimal science-based workout in the world. From 2016 to 2020, we've been researching this at Mindvalley, and what we have developed is something that will blow your mind. Now, this is what happened to me after 1 year of 10X. You can see the before-after transformation. Notice the difference in the way my chest looks, the difference in the way my shoulders look. Now, all of this was happening in less than 30 minutes a week. That's it, less than 30 minutes a week. I was going to the gym twice. Each round was taking about 15 minutes. So it became all of a sudden something that didn't require me to excavate 90 minutes of my day. It didn't require me to injure my back with loose weights. In only 15 minutes a session, twice a week, I transformed my body. But it wasn't just me. Check out this picture of Jason Campbell. Jason Campbell is the host of Mindvalley's Superhuman at Work podcast. The first picture is what Jason looked like when he first started working at Mindvalley. The middle picture is what he looked like after taking our nutrition and our food program, WildFit. The third picture is Jason after 10X. I want to tell you this, Jason just signed a modeling deal. I mean, this stuff transforms people's lives. So, how did 10X come about? Well, one day, I was walking through my office, and we employ hundreds of people in our beautiful office, and I was visiting a particular Mindvalley building. We call it the laboratory, and this is where we develop new programs. And there I noticed one of the most interesting people I've ever hired. His name is Lorenzo, and Lorenzo would always show up to work. Everyone else would come in a t-shirt or jeans. Lorenzo would always show up to work in sweatpants and a wife beater, or a singlet as it's called in some parts of the world. He always looked incredibly fit. And so I remember seeing Lorenzo. It was lunchtime, and he was making himself a healthy lunch, listening to his AirPods in the midst of work. And I said, hey Lorenzo, let me ask you something. You look so amazing. How did you get that body? You must be spending hours in the gym. How do you do it? Are you working out in the morning before showing up to work for an hour every day? And Lorenzo said, actually, no, I hardly go to the gym. And I'm like, what do you mean? Are you doing home workouts? And he goes, no, I only work out 30 minutes a week. And I'm like, and this battled me. I'm like, you're telling me that your body is the result of only working out 30 minutes a week? And Lorenzo said, yes. And I said, tell me your freaking secret. Now, before I bring up Lorenzo, you need to know this about Lorenzo. Lorenzo's an autodidact. He dropped out of school in South Africa at the age of 13, and he self-educated himself. He became brilliant. Lorenzo has a sort of a genius mind. When you listen to him talk, it's like listening to a scientist. This is what you have to know about Lorenzo. Lorenzo is so brilliant at human transformation that he developed Mindvalley's human transformation model. He went on to work with many luminaries in the field to develop their programs for Mindvalley. Ken Wilber, America's greatest philosopher, his program, Integral Life, was developed by Lorenzo. Ben Greenfield's program on the Longevity Blueprint, developed by, you guessed it, Lorenzo. Stephen Kotler's Habit of Ferocity, and Stephen Kotler is one of the foremost researchers in flow, one of the foremost authors out there. His program, The Habit of Ferocity, developed for Mindvalley with Lorenzo. And finally, Alan Watts, the great Zen philosopher, his program developed by Lorenzo. So this man had an incredible mind. So when Lorenzo told me that he was working out 30 minutes a week, I know that he was on to something. What I didn't know is that Lorenzo had once had the same frustrations I'd had with my body. But because of his brilliance in human transformation, he went deep into pretty much every single scientific article, research, every book on transforming health, and he put together a program for himself. It had transformed his body, but he had kept it his own secret. That day when I bumped into Lorenzo in our Mindvalley office in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, would change my life. And you're about to hear what happened next. Welcome to the set. So firstly, this is Ronan Oliveira. Ronan is the head of health and fitness at Mindvalley. Ronan is the co-founder of 10X. Working with Lorenzo over the last couple of years, Ronan took the 10X philosophy, the hardcore science behind it, and with his entertaining, charismatic style, turned it into a program that anyone can follow. If Lorenzo is the scientist, Ronan is the educator. Ronan is really popular on Mindvalley's YouTube channels. He's the creator of multiple programs with Mindvalley. You may have seen him in Ben Greenfield's Longevity Blueprint. You will see him in his own program on intermittent fasting. He's this incredibly charismatic, brilliant, compassionate man who is such a great teacher. And I want to introduce you to Lorenzo. Hi, Lorenzo.
Hey, Vishen. Thanks for having me.
Ordinarily, we would have Lorenzo sitting with us, but you guys know how the world is right now. Travel is difficult. Lorenzo has children and he is in South Africa joining us via Zoom. After 10X transformed my body, and the picture I showed you was about a 1-year transformation, but I saw the biggest transformations in the first 1 month. And that transformation wasn't just that I looked and felt better, my strength elevated. One of the things you're going to see about 10X, which is so interesting, is that it accelerates human strength. My strength gain in the first 1 month was 50%. That is quite typical for a male over 40. Now, we didn't stop there. I was so excited about this, I asked Ronan and Lorenzo to deploy this in our company. We started training dozens of people who worked at Mindvalley. For people under 40, we saw an average strength increase of 26%. And we didn't stop there. We then decided to test it on the elderly, starting with my father. I'm going to share with you his incredible story in a moment. My dad got on this program when he turned 70. Now, we were seeing incredible results, but we were not ready to bring this out to the world yet because at Mindvalley, we want to develop the best programs out there. So we started testing this out in different cities in the world. We launched a test group in Barcelona. We launched a test group in Estonia. We launched a test group in Croatia. We tested hundreds of people. We analyzed their results. We analyzed blood samples. We analyzed DEXA scans. And then we asked them how they felt about it. And when enough people said that they would never go back to regular workouts again, and when so many people started reaching out to us saying, please create a program because I need to bring this to my wife, I need to bring this to my kids, I need to share this with my father, we knew we were onto something. But still, we put it on pause for 1 more year till we got the methodologies perfect. We then experimented with Ronan taking a lot of these ideas and teaching this live to Mindvalley members on Zoom calls, hundreds of members at a time. Again, so we could see what happens when a large sum of people go through this program. Once again, we saw remarkable results. And now, it's been a while, guys. It's been 4.5 years?
More or less, 4.5 years.
And 10X is finally out to the world.
That's right.
This is what you're about to experience right now. Now, Lorenzo, I want to start with you. So tell us about why you created this and share with us your results.
Of course. So the first thing that you should know is that I've been exercising most of my life. I've been very active most of my life, starting with martial arts training since I was 15. I was a sprinter in college, and I started doing weightlifting. And so I started doing all these different protocols, whether it was barbell or bodyweight calisthenics, or just regular training programs at the gym. But it wasn't until I realized that either I was always too sore. Oh, let me just add to that. I was also a big fan of CrossFit and just was training almost every day. But again, it wasn't until I realized that, what if I could reduce my training time so that I could spend a lot more time on the things that were most important to me? Because like Vishen, I have so many other interests, right? Like I have interests in psychology and philosophy and studying so many different interests, adopting so many different skill sets. And I just felt too much of my time was going towards exercise. But yet still, I wanted to figure out how could I spend the least amount of time possible but get such great results. And when I say results, I meant strength, I meant endurance, I meant basic flexibility. And it wasn't until I started researching and I stumbled upon some really interesting research on an exercise methodology that was really focused on trying to answer the same question, which was, what was the minimum effective dose for creating certain results, whether it was for strength or endurance and things like that. So there's a school of thought. There are a lot of people who are, and I think this is not just an exercise, but particularly in exercise, we're trying to understand, specifically if we're thinking in scientific terms, we're trying to isolate the mechanisms that make things work, right? Why? Because when we can discover the mechanisms that make things work, we can exploit them directly in an efficient way. In fact, before a drug gets approved by the FDA, the first thing they look for is not efficacy, does it work or not? The first thing they look for is safety. Is it safe to produce it to the masses? Then secondly, they look at efficacy. Does it actually work, right? And then third, and most drugs fail here, is do these drugs, do they have a high efficaciousness score or effectiveness score, which means, is it easy for people to adopt, right? Is it practical for people to adopt on a day-to-day basis or depending on the dose prescription? And this idea applied to exercise really fascinated me. What if we could identify, what exercise could we use that was safe, that was going to work, and that was practical for people? But add to that, the things that make it work, make it so efficient, meaning that we don't have to spend a single minute longer than what we have to exploit the mechanisms that of strength and muscle growth and endurance that I was really, really interested in. Because like I said earlier, I was really interested in trying to understand the mechanisms that drive all of human transformation. But specifically in exercise, I finally came across some research that was showing me that this was not only possible, but a lot of people have been experimenting with it. And once I started adopting these methods, I realized that even the methods out there weren't even as efficient or were as clear or as practical or as safe as they said it was.
What you just said is so powerful, Lorenzo. Think of it as this abbreviation, SRP, okay? Safety. It's safe. Remember I told you the story of how I bought these barbells and I injured my back for a month. And they sell that type of useless machinery on these late night infomercials. Safety is important. The second thing is results. Does it give you results? Results in minimum effective time, not causing you to have to sacrifice 4 hours a week or even an hour a week on exercise. Because for many of us, we lead busy lives. We have children, we have careers, we have so many other things to care about. And the third one is it practical? Now, practicality is one of the things I love most about the 10X approach. I can do it at home if the gyms are closed during COVID, and we'll talk about that in a moment. And when I do it in the gym, it's so much fun. I can do it by myself. It's addictive. I feel like I'm competing with myself, and I see results every single week. And that's the most astonishing thing. Every time I go to the gym, my score goes up, and I've never experienced that before. And that creates a psychological trigger to make you want to do this because you're winning every day. And so I love this approach that you put together. Now, I want you guys to look at this picture of Kumail Nanjiani, the actor who's going to be in one of the new Marvel superhero movies. People were astonished at Kumail's transformation because Kumail was a comedian who typically played the geeky character in movies. And look at him now. This is what you call a sexy male body. So huge congratulations to Kumail Nanjiani for being able to do that. Now, if you have hours a week and you could afford a Hollywood trainer and a Hollywood nutritionist, and you could have a film production company pay for all of that, you could have a body like that as well in probably about 6 to 8 months. with a lot of sacrifice. But what if you could get a body like that in 3 years with minimal sacrifice and minimal time? Lorenzo, could you share your transformation step by step by step over 3 years as you started applying 10X? And take us through what we're about to see.
Sure. So first of all, people should know that I didn't intend to do a 3-year experiment. Remember, I was out on the hunt for a protocol where I could get results in strength, preserve muscle mass, basic flexibility, foundation and endurance that took a very short period of time, that was safe and that was practical. Now I started implementing it and it was amazing. In fact, the first couple of months, I saw the biggest transformation, and you'll actually see in my own before and after photos transformation. You could see that transformation year by year, but the first year was, again, it was an unintended experiment. But after a year, I got such great results that I thought, well, I can't believe this is actually working. This is actually, how can 30 minutes really be enough? And so not only did I look better, but I felt better. I was less sore. I felt more energized. I saved a ton of time so I could finally, help you build some of the world's best programs in the world, consult with other people, pursue my other intellectual interests. And it wasn't until the first year that I decided, you know what, I finally found this protocol that would probably become the foundation for all my exercise throughout my entire life. And I just continued, right? So by the time you and I met, I've already done it for 1 year. And I just continued. And I decided, the reason I say it was 3 years, because it was in 3 years that I actually started doing less exercise.
So Lorenzo, I'm looking at this photo right now, and I'm going to flash it on the screen. Now, this was your personal logs. So there's some text and stuff over here, but it is incredible. So those of you who are watching, I want you to pay attention to this photo. You can see Lorenzo started photographing himself every month, and what you're seeing here is a summary of the 3-year transformation from February 2016 to December 2018. Observe, Lorenzo had about 11% body fat, 10.5% when he started. By the time he ended, his body fat was 6.3%. But look at how much he bulked up. I mean, look at his back from February 2016 to December 2018. Lorenzo, could you take us through that and talk a little bit about what's going on in these photos? And I just want to stress, this is going to the gym or working from home for 15 minutes twice a week, so 30 minutes maximum per week. That was the context of the experiment, correct?
Yes.
There was no other workout, no other sports, nothing.
No other workout, no other sports, no endurance, no stretching, just this and my life, the rest of my life.
Now, were you on some calorie restriction diet? Were you eating bread? Could you enjoy dessert?
Yes, while I don't drink any alcohol, really, I don't restrict calories or restrict any types of foods, which is called dietary restriction. I don't do any of that. I pretty much eat everything I want.
What about eating with your kids? Pizza, ice cream, the stuff that normal parents do. Did you have to restrict that?
So remember, Vishen, everything in moderation, but having kids, I think one of the coolest things about having kids is sharing these things with them, right? In a way that you can really enjoy it, whether it's ice cream or going out for pizza or, eating random stuff or finishing their food when they don't finish their ice cream or their pizza,
So there was no strict dietary restriction, but you do not drink alcohol. So that is one thing that we wanted to note, right?
Right.
Now, if someone does drink alcohol in moderation, like I take maybe a glass of wine or 2 a day, is that okay?
I think that's even better than eating ice cream and pizza. So I think it's definitely okay.
Okay, I like that. Now, what's going on here? I see a number. In the second picture, I see plus 11M. Third picture, I see plus 10M. What does that mean?
So starting in February 2016, 11 months later is the second picture that you see there.
Now, let's look at the lower thing. Your front body transformation was incredible. I see something called Big 5 1RM 520 kilograms plus 55 kilograms. What does that mean?
In 2016 and 17, we didn't have the 6 exercise model that we have now. So that was just the Big 5, the 5 exercises. I only did 5 exercises once a week.
Got it. And so what you're saying over there is your total lift in those 5 exercises was 520 kilograms. You were able to lift 55 kilograms more.
Yes.
Right after the first.
Let me just add some nuance there. So the 520 kgs that you see there, that was the total amount per exercise added together, giving you a total score as a 1 repetition maximum for 5 exercises together.
Got it. And that's something you're about to learn. There's the now we've gone from 5 to 6 exercises, so we call it the big 6, but you're going to learn how all of this math is calculated. This is a superbly scientific approach. Lorenzo, thank you. This was transformative. So Lorenzo, question for you. Why is this model so much more effective than, the exercise routines that are so popular outside in the world that we see in late night infomercials or that often our gym trainers advise us to do?
Okay, so first of all, most of the exercise programs that you see promoted out there is based on the assumption that we should be expending a high amount of calories during a workout, because we all have bought into the belief or the idea that an exercise program's quality is in direct proportion to the amount of calories that we expend. But effective exercise has nothing to do with the amount of calories that you expend. Effective exercise has everything to do with the movement pattern in which you engage your body that will produce a very specific positive physiological adaptation that we call strength or muscle or loss of body fat that people actually want. Now, the reason people are promoting exercise programs based on how much calories they expend is because people still believe that, firstly, they need to expend calories to lose weight. And then secondly, that weight loss is almost the only real outcome for exercise. And for me, that's the least interesting outcome for exercise. And that's pretty much why none of these programs work. In fact, they keep on conditioning this belief that exercise should be equated to how many calories we can expend. And this is just completely wrong. And so people are wasting a lot of time, they're wasting a lot of money.
It's so completely wrong. Multiple studies have now emerged, and almost all leading American doctors now agree that 80 to 90% of your body weight is determined not by exercise, but what you eat. Check out this expose on Vox News. 80 to 90% of your body weight is what you eat. It's not exercise. But why do people, especially Americans, believe that exercise is the answer? It's because big food companies want you to believe that. They want you to believe that, binging out on McDonald's, drinking Coca-Cola is all fine as long as you go for a jog. It's rubbish. So, firstly, if you are clinically obese, if you're looking to lose weight, you do want to start with Wild Fit by Mindvalley. Now, if you are already happy with your weight or fairly happy with your weight, but you want to now start looking really, really, really good and getting all of the benefits of exercise, you want to go with 10X. Again, look at Jason Campbell's transformation here. When Jason first started out, 10X probably wasn't his first choice. Jason needed to lose weight. But once his body had lost significant amounts of excess fat, once his fat percentage as a man was about 20% or so, his body fat percentage was 20%, he was ready to transform his body with 10X. So that is the process. Don't diet. Diets are BS. What you need is brain conditioning to change your approach to food. Only 1% of people who do diets actually see results.
This is Dr. Kevin Hall. He's an expert on metabolism at the National Institutes of Health, and he conducted a 6-year study of contestants on The Biggest Loser.
Hey, Sam. Well, I can't speak to how they produce these shows. What I can tell you is that of the 14 contestants that we studied, 80% of them regained most of the weight that they'd lost.
So again, I want to reiterate that this is super important. If you want to lose weight, start with Wild Fit by Mindvalley. If you're already happy with your body weight and now you want to get fit and you want to look good, you're at the right place. 10X is the way to go. Now, what I'm going to share next might make you uncomfortable. It's the reason why many exercise programs that you may have bought in the past from late night infomercials or tried in the gym don't really work. And you know they don't work. Almost all of us have exercise machines that we have bought online, like shoved under our bed somewhere. Almost all of us have bought exercise DVDs or CDs and given up. The reason these don't work is a concept called adaptive response. Ronan?
Adaptive response is a mechanism that makes our body stronger, makes us adapt to a stimulus when it believes that it's under a threat. It's an evolutionary response that made us survive for hundreds of thousands of years. If we're attacked by a predator and we use 100% of our muscles potential, to guarantee our survival going forward, the brain must make our muscles stronger, must make it faster, but only when we reach the 100%, only when we show that it's needed to build a stronger body. So if we have a workout that taps into this type of signaling, we create a adaptive response. It's a muscular adaptation. Now you have stronger muscle mass, you have more the cells with more nuclei inside them, and now you have more potential. But what happens most of the time is you have a program, an exercise program that gets you to move your body for hours non-stop, but it never gets to that limit. It never gets to that threshold that makes the body believe it's under a threat, so it never raises the need of becoming stronger. Because there's no predators around. Why would the body spend more energy and create a larger body that requires more energy to be alive if there's no reason? So an exercise that creates an adaptive response is the exercise that simulates that 100% stimulus, that makes the body believe that it needs to be stronger to be able to survive that type of stimulus.
Now, this is where it gets interesting, right? The adaptive response can be triggered in 60 seconds. If you're trying to get more muscles in your arms, right? And Ronan, you've got like the craziest arms. You can stimulate that in 60 seconds if you do the right approach. You don't have to be lifting barbells over and over and over again. You can do it in 60 seconds if you can trigger that adaptive response. This is why when you go to a gym and you see people doing 10x, firstly, they walk in a gym and they walk out in 15 minutes.
Right.
They are in and out in 15
Right.
minutes. But secondly, they are super focused. They're not there to meet other people. They are super focused and they tend to grunt a lot.
Right.
Whether it's a man or
Right.
a woman. 10x's in the gym, you know, you'll see that they'll be lifting weights and they'll be making sounds.
You're fighting a lion there, right?
They're literally fighting a lion. You can identify 10x's in your gym. But what they're doing is they are smart. They're not going in there and wasting an hour on useless exercise. They're typically by themselves. You'll notice they're using a timer, and we're going to show you. They're typically listening to earphones because they're listening to a unique Mindvalley sound that we've designed, custom engineered. They might be looking at their phone because they are watching Ronan or Lorenzo teaching them the exact movement on the Mindvalley app. They are hyper-focused, hyper-efficient, and they know what they are doing. And you're going to understand why shortly. So I want you to know, once you start doing 10x, your workout is different from pretty much everyone else in the gym. But you're going to be getting so much better results. Now, something really important. 10x doesn't just make you fitter. 10x increases your lifespan. I cannot stress this enough. One of the things that got me so excited about this program is the results it had on my 70-year-old father. And I'm going to show you a video that I shared on social media that inspired so many people and kind of made my dad a pseudo-celebrity shortly after his 70th birthday. But let me tell you where we're going with this. You see, Mindvalley is really ambitious in terms of what we're getting out to the world. And we want to ensure that the minutes you spend learning on Mindvalley don't extract from your life, they actually give you more time. What other product can you think of where, as you use it, the minutes you spend on it actually come back to you because of lifespan increase? This is where we're going. 10x is designed to increase your lifespan. And I cannot stress this enough. And this is why I'm so passionate about it. It all started when a doctor told my father that he had only 5 years to live. My dad showed up in my home one day and he looked really downtrodden. And I asked him, Dad, is everything okay? And he said, just got back from a doctor. And he told me, turning 70. And he said, and the doctor told me I shouldn't expect to live beyond 75. Highly unlikely because my health is so bad. That is when I put my dad on 10x. This was January 2019. You'll see what happened next. But first, Lorenzo, I want you to explain this graph.
So the primary aim for me here and for us here at Mindvalley is simple. We want to help people feel their best, look their best, and function their best, as well as extending life. Now, what's interesting is feeling your best or looking your best and functioning your best, then it's not mutually exclusive from extending lifespan. In fact, in order to extend your lifespan, you have to function as well as you possibly can. You have to be as fit as you possibly can. So there's a graph I really, really like, and it basically shows you that the direct relationship between our increase in health span, which is another word for fitness, and lifespan, which is how long we live. The fitter we are, the healthier we are, the longer we will live. So what do I mean by that? Health span, like I said, means fitness. But what is fitness? Now, if you think of fitness, you really can develop the body in three primary ways. There are many ways, but three primary ways: strength, flexibility, and endurance. Now, out of the three, only strength really builds muscle and allows you to stimulate bone growth and can keep body fat off your body over long periods of time. Flexibility cannot do that, and endurance not only does not build total fitness over long periods of time, but it can actually break down muscle tissue over long periods of time. So that really leaves us with strength, meaning when we are as strong as we possibly can, if we can hold on to as much muscle mass as we can, the longer we will be able to live. And this is what that aging curve shows us.
So what this aging curve is showing us, and why this is so significant to me, is that I want to be working on my mission for the world until I'm at least 75. I don't intend to retire until I'm 75. I've given myself 10 years to transform global education, another 10 years to transform schooling for kids, and then another 10 years to fix global warming. And I believe I'll be in a position to do that if my cognition is top-notch, if my energy levels are top-notch. I'm going to be 45 right now, so I got until 75. So I'm doing this also for myself. When I get to 75, I want to look and feel as energetic as I do at 45. After I'm done with my mission, I can stop death, and that's the compressed morbidity. What we are seeking to do is to increase the line from the black to the gray, as you can see in this graph, so that all of us can live longer, because especially if you're a Mindvalley user, you know that you have a big mission, a big gift to give to the world. Let's be in a peak state as we are giving our gifts. Now, this brings me to my father. So my father was told by a doctor that he had 5 years to live. He was 70 years old. I put him on 10x. Now, the most interesting thing is when you take someone over 40 and you put them on 10x, the results are transformative. For me, I had a 50% strength gain. But with my dad, who was over 70, his strength gain was mind-blowing. My dad was having difficulty walking up the stairs. And look at this video that I filmed in a gym with Lorenzo. My dad is doing a leg press, and he's doing a test to see how many leg press he can do to find his 1 rep max. All he's required to do is to push once, okay? That's the 1 rep max. Now observe what happens.
Push, 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 push. 140.
Wow.
And come down. Come down, don't do another rep. You can? 2 reps. 2 RM on 140 kgs. Come back down and relax. Relax completely. One more, and push. 3 reps on 140. How's that, Vishen?
Amazing.
How's that?
Amazing.
3 reps on your
What was his
weight.
previous weight?
80.
80.
Yeah.
So from 80 kilograms to 150 kilograms in 4 weeks.
And 140.
140. 80 to 140 in 4
80
weeks.
to 140 in 4 weeks.
Amazing.
Yeah, awesome.
My dad started out being able to do 80 kilograms once. He ended being able to do 140 kilograms. And then he started showing off, and he did it like 3 or 4 times. That is almost a 70% increase in strength. Now, here's the fact that's going to blow your mind. This was done in 4 weeks using the 10x protocol. That's a 70% increase in strength for a man 70 years old. What can this do for you if you're over 40 or over 50 or over 60? The reason this is so important because after the age of 30, our muscles start to degrade. It's called sarcopenia. We lose roughly 1% of muscle every year. Until when you're about 70 years old, your muscles have degraded so much, your bones have degraded, that you know what is the #1 accidental cause of death for Americans 70 and over? It's falling down. Your muscles degrade so much, your bones degrade, you fall down and you break something. But when you do 10x, not only do your muscles rebuild, but your bones actually become stronger. Studies show that there are only 2 things that increase bone density: vegetables, so eat your broccoli, and strength training. And so you get that double effect, and that's how longevity increases. My dad can walk upstairs again. He no longer has to sleep in the ground floor of his home because he can't walk up to his bedroom. And he told me after the first 1 month, I feel so good, I feel I can rip a phone book in half. Now maybe that was a bit too much, but he felt so much healthier and I felt so much better because I could give this gift to my father. Now, let's talk about longevity, Ronan.
Right. All the things that happen when you are increasing your strength, all the visual changes that you see in your body, this is all cool, and you can measure this, but there is even a fantastic transformation that is happening inside your body, in things like your blood lipids, your bone density, your gene expression. These are all different markers that we call biomarkers of aging, that they basically tell the biological age of your body, regardless of how long has it been since you were born, how old or how young your body is. There are basically 10 of these numbers that we call biomarkers of aging, and they were also described in a book called Biomarkers by William Evans. And out of those 10, you find things like muscle and body composition, cardiovascular fitness, bone density, telomere length, and gene expression. Different exercises will change those numbers. They will improve some, and they may even impair some others. So for example, if you do a lot of cardiovascular type of training and you run and you're training for a marathon, you will for sure improve your cardiovascular fitness. Is one of the biomarkers. But you may decrease your muscle mass, and you may decrease your bone density with the excessive amount of cardio. And so that is improving your biological age in some way, but is impairing some others. And the same thing happens with different types of exercise. Strength training, though, is the only type of exercise that improves all these 10 biomarkers at the same time. Because it's developing the most fundamental part of the body, which is your muscle mass. Imagine the function of a muscle mass for an evolutionary reason. Muscle is what allows us to go get food. Muscle is what allows us to survive from attacks, because it's what makes our body move. And so by the fundamental role that muscle mass plays, what we see is that when we exercise muscles, it starts to communicate with all the other parts of our body. It communicates to your lungs, it communicates to your brain, communicates to your heart. It sends messages that improves all the other areas of our body. Improving muscle mass, improving strength, causes a ripple effect into all other systems of the body. And this is how you extend your life as you transform your body.
That's amazing. So these are the 10 biomarkers of aging. And the key idea here is that there's one practice you can do that rapidly changes and positively influences all of these biomarkers, and that is strength training. And the optimal form of strength training that we have developed to give you this increase in all of these biomarkers is the 10X protocol. I want to share with you a couple of pictures of some of our top students. These were students who were working with us as part of our development process before we even released this program. Check out this lady. Lorenzo, could you tell us what's going on here?
I'm glad that you brought up this picture specifically, Vishen, because a lot of people think that this is primarily only for men, and women only think that strength training is for men. But let me tell you, strength training is just as important, if not more important, for women as well, because we know that women are, most at risk for osteoporosis post-menopause, right? So this is just so incredibly important for women's health as well. In fact, we work with so many women. We see some of our best results with women. And so she is no exception. So this woman we worked with, right, in 6 months, we helped her lose the biggest thing that she struggled with. And in fact, this is the crazy thing, right? She she was eating less than 500 calories a day. And so we really encouraged her to just eat more. But more importantly, we told her, just do 10x twice a week, 30 minutes total per week. And she did. And in the first month, you can actually see this DEXA scan, how the trend line for fat loss is just so clear. And also you start to see the muscle going up. And so over a 6-month period, she lost 18 kgs of fat, or 40 pounds. She also put on 5 pounds of lean muscle tissue. That's life-saving tissue, which is roughly 2.5 or 2.2 kg of muscle that she put on to her beautiful body in 6 months.
Yeah, so we can't share her name, but we're going to call her Mary. She was born in 1980, so she's 40 years old in 2020. And I it's great to look at the before and after photo, but it's great to see the DEXA scan to see how the fat and the muscle in her body started changing. Notice how the fat starts disappearing, and then her body is mostly all blue. That's an indicator of muscle. And of course, the photo that you're seeing shows what the outside looks like. She went from 165 pounds to 124 pounds. She went from 43% body fat to 23% body fat. And in 6 months, she gained 5 pounds of muscle, but lost 40 pounds of fat. Now, Lorenzo, let me ask you this. Why is that fat disappearing with 10x?
So, first of all, it has nothing to do with calories. And secondly, what she's doing when you're putting on lean tissue onto your body, you're shifting the metabolic environment such that it becomes anabolic to muscle, meaning it grows muscle, and catabolic to fat, meaning it starts to break down fat. You actually have to make that metabolic shift metabolically. And secondly, when you start adding more muscle, you're adding fuel to the fire. You're actually, to lose fat and to keep the fat off is a lot easier when you have more muscle mass, because we know that muscle mass increases your metabolic rate. So for every pound of muscle that you're going to put on, your metabolic rate per kg will go up by at least 1 calorie. That just means that you're going to burn at least 50 more calories for every pound that you put onto your body. So that is that's really the fat loss mystery when it comes to strength training and fat loss.
So she put on 5 pounds of muscle. That should increase her basal metabolic rate by about 250 calories.
Correct.
That's amazing.
Not only you are increasing your metabolism, but the fact that you have more muscle mass is redirecting what you use your calories for. Now, if you're having calories from the food that you eat, those calories are not going straight into adipose tissue, into side of fat cells, but now these muscles are redirecting where they go. Now they are filling up your muscle mass instead of filling up your fat cells, because now you have more storage inside of the muscles.
So the crazy thing about this DEXA scan, folks, is that when people see that, when people who are in our test group of 10x see the DEXA scan, it blows their mind, because we've all been brainwashed to believe that it's all about what our scale shows us. Now, when you do 10x, your body is changing internally. You are burning fat, you're gaining muscle, and guess what? Muscle is denser than fat. And so your scale will show you the same weight. And if you're trying to lose weight and you look at that scale and it shows you the same weight, you may feel like you're failing, but actually, your body is transforming internally. That's what the DEXA scan shows you. Lorenzo, tell me about how this blows people's minds.
This is the most amazing thing. So, okay, as we age, our body size, for those who don't pick up a lot of weight, stay the same. But what they don't realize is their muscle is shrinking away and they're picking up body fat. Literally, their muscle is being replaced by fat. So they look at themselves in the mirror, they look at the scale, and they're like, oh, I'm the same as 10 years ago. Until they see the DEXA scan and they realize, oh my God, I am mostly 40% fat. I'm almost half of my body is almost fat, but my body size looks the same. That's because their muscle has disappeared and it's been replaced with fat.
This is why the DEXA scan is so important. Now, you don't have to do a DEXA scan as part of the 10X, but we showed this to you because we want you to understand that there are internal changes in your body that a typical scale isn't going to show you. But you're literally reversing your age. So now it's time to get into your first 10X class. Now remember, 10X is 6 exercises. What we're going to teach you is we're going to go really deep with just one exercise. But first, I want you to open up your journal and I want you to write down of everything you've heard before. Why Does this matter to you? Is it because you're aging and you want to age more gracefully? Is it because you want to feel comfortable on a beach without your shirt on? Is it because you want to finally get rid of stubborn fat that might be bringing down your energy and making you feel self-conscious? Is it because you have such a beautiful mission and you need your lifespan to be as long and as healthy as possible to get your gifts out to the world? Write that down. For me, it's about looking and feeling great. It's about longevity. It's about, I have a dream. I want to be able to play with my great-grandchildren. What is it for you? And now we'll continue. Now, before we begin, I want to dispel a couple of myths. The first myth, as Lorenzo just shared, yes, this is incredible for women. In fact, out of hundreds of test subjects we directly worked with, the majority were women. And some of the most amazing results of 10X came from the women in the group. So this is incredible if you're a woman. Some women believe that strength training is going to make them muscular and bulky. It actually doesn't. It makes you lean and will help you burn off fat because your metabolic rate goes up, as we showed you in Mary's example and in Mary's scientific DEXA scan. Now, the second objection is this: do you need gym equipment? No. We have redone the program to allow you to do home workouts. Check out this video of Lorenzo training his son at home. You do not need a gym membership or gym equipment. Now, if you are a member of a gym and you have access to some of the machines we're going to recommend, that's great. But you can do this at home even if you're under lockdown and gyms are closed. For women, we brought in a third trainer, Monique, who's going to show you some of the adaptations for women. Monique is part of our 10X training group, and she is featured in the 10X program. Now, another reason people may not do this is because they believe it's painful. And I can tell you, yes, it is painful. But I want to stress this, right? You know the pain you feel when you're getting a really good back massage? It's painful, yes, but there's something about that pain. You like that pain. You want that pain. That's why we pay so much for someone to give us a massage. That's the type of pain that 10X gives you. In fact, there's a phrase we use in 10X called chasing the pain. As you're doing certain routines, Lorenzo, he would show me how to chase the pain, how to get the right position where you feel that maximum pain. And it feels so good. Remember, it's about creating an adaptive response. So yeah, there is pain, but it's a good type of pain, and you walk out of that gym in 1/10 the time of everyone else, and then go back to your regular life.
This is what the 10X protocol in terms of a workout looks like. All workouts, they consist of 6 movements, and we call them the big 6 because we divide our bodies into 2 parts, a upper and a lower body, and we are working all parts of the body, all muscle groups of the body in one single workout. Imagine that you get your upper body, there are 2 planes of movement, right? You have a horizontal plane where you can push things and pull things. So here you have 2 movements. You have a vertical plane where you can push and pull things, so 4 movements now. And you have with your lower body, you can do a push movement, that's when you are squatting and then you stand up. And you can do something that is like a pull movement. Imagine that you have a big box in the floor and you are grabbing it and lifting it to use the back of your legs for this. So all these 6 movements, they put together a 10X workout. And then we're gonna have exercises that fulfill each one of those movements. This is what you do when you go to the gym. You arrive there, you're gonna have 1 exercise for each one of the 6 movements. You do each one of them for 1 minute, and then after this whole workout, you're done. 1 minute, that's all it takes for each one of them, given that you reach the maximum intensity on that exercise,
so what
and
about,
move straight to the next.
So it's 15 minutes. What about the extra 9 minutes?
The extra 90 minutes is your transition time between one exercise
when you're
and
adjusting the machine
other.
and you're moving to the next machine.
If you need to breathe, that sometimes it becomes very intense and you need to breathe. And imagine that you're doing, for example, some exercises, they can be done unilaterally. So sometimes you can work both legs at the same time, or you can work first the right one or the left one. So if you're doing unilateral exercises, it can extend up to 15 minutes, for example.
Right.
But it's usual also to finish this type of workout in even 10 minutes.
And there are 2 stages to that. The first is what you call the preparation stage. And then Ronan is going to take you through the actual exercise. Ronan?
Vishen, ready to go?
Absolutely.
Let's do this. we are going to dive deep into one of the exercises, the process that you use before a workout and during a workout for the first exercise. Remember that the first out of the 6 is a leg press movement. So if you go to the gym, this is what a leg press looks like. But if you're doing this from home, how do you do the same exercise? Now you can use one exercise called the split squat. That you don't need any big type of equipment. All you need, this is a resistance band. It's an elastic band that you use and you grab to give yourself more resistance. So it increases the weight of your exercise. And it comes in a box, something like this with different colors of resistance bands. You can buy this on Amazon for more or less $20.
And the different colors represent different resistance. So as you get stronger, you can increase the resistance.
Right.
Yeah, this was about, I ordered this on Amazon. I think it was like less than $20.
Yeah.
These things are so cheap and so easy to get.
And you use for all types of exercise, not only for the split squat, but for all exercises you can do at home. You can use resistance bands. I'm gonna show all in the quest.
So what you're gonna see over here is basically how to turn your home into a way to facilitate the leg press movement.
Right. Before you go to the gym and do the workout for the first time, you need a preparation process. Why the preparation process is important is because you're not only going to the gym and moving the body and contracting the legs. We need to know how to do this. We need to know the breathing technique that potentiates that technique, and also the weight that optimizes that exercise. Because if you do something that is too light, you never get to the adaptive response. If you do something that is too heavy, you don't use all your muscle fibers.
Right.
So there's a sweet spot. There's a right way to do this.
So I want to pick up there. So remember what we said about adaptive response, right? The mistake people make is they go to a gym and they just keep using the weights till they get tired.
Right.
But remember, and that could take like 5 or 6 minutes on one machine. That's not the point. The point is 1 minute. Get your body to an adaptive response that makes your body feel like it's being attacked by a tiger, like a lion has jumped on you and you got to push it away. And that is what tricks your biological response to grow your muscle. And it doesn't have to happen in countless reps. It can happen in 1 minute. Okay.
And the preparation process is going to answer the question, what is this weight for me for this exercise?
Yes, so it's like this ideal weight for you that triggers the adaptive response in 1 minute.
We do this in 3 sets first. So this is the preparation process is like. We're going to do this now with Vision here. And over the exercise of the split squat.
And I've never done this before.
This is the first set. So the first set of the preparation process, you're gonna see as Vision also discovers.
Yeah, I've been doing leg presses in the gym, folks.
Right.
Fortunately, I've had access to a gym, but this is for those of you who may not have access to a gym.
The first set, you are going to pay attention to the biomechanics of the exercise. So, Vision, this is more or less what it's gonna look like. A split squat uses one leg only. So the back leg is elevated. So now that we have this counter here, is more or less at your knee height, which is perfect. You're gonna put either your foot, the top of the foot, or tucked, whatever gives you more stability. Now the front foot, you can make it further away or closer. The main point is that you want to make it a little bit further so your lower body doesn't arch back. You don't want this movement. You want to be able to lean forward a bit. So perfect. So your back is not arched.
Got it.
And this is the movement. And for stability, you contract your abs. So now you're using your core. Right now, you do a couple of repetitions just paying attention to the movement of the knees and the hips. The hips go low, the lower back is straight, and now you're paying attention. This is biomechanics.
Okay.
Vision now is learning the muscle memory for executing this type of exercise.
So the first part of the teaching is learning the biomechanics, the exact movement style, for example, the little nuances like tensing your abs.
Now let's have your toes pointing a little bit out.
Okay.
Just a little bit out.
A little bit outwards that way. Okay.
And bringing your knees following the toes. So your knees don't come in, they come out.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Right. Now you're contracting more of the quads. And now we go to the second set of the preparation process. That is integrating the biomechanics with the breathing pattern. There is a specific breathing pattern that we use. That is, imagine when you contract your muscles, you also contract your abs. And if you try to, the natural movement of your lungs is to also contract. So this is the movement, this is the time that you're exhaling the air. If you try to inhale while you're contracting your muscles, that will be
it feels weird, right.
It feels weird. There's a conflict in the biomechanics.
Got it.
So that means that whenever you are releasing, so for a squat is when you're coming down, you're expanding your lungs. So you are inhaling. And when you are contracting, you are exhaling.
Okay.
So
great.
now this is the second set. We integrated the movement with the breathing.
Yeah.
The third set, we are paying attention to the tempo. Because there is also a specific pace that we're doing these exercises. Each exercise has two halves. One of them is when you release, and the other is when you make the effort. When you release, the technical name for this is eccentric. Eccentric is when, imagine the weight.
Yeah.
Eccentric is when the weight is going towards the earth. Eccentric, earth. Concentric, clouds. So the weight is going whether towards the earth or towards the clouds.
So that's concentric. When you're releasing, that's eccentric.
Yes.
I love that. The C
Yeah.
and the E.
So when the weight is going towards the earth, this is eccentric. When the weight is going through the clouds, that's concentric.
Okay.
And so whenever you do a eccentric part of the exercise, that takes 3 seconds. So 1, 2, 3. The concentric takes 2 seconds. 1, 2.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Wow. That's right. So now you are fine-tuning the tempo. What I want to reach is a moment that now I know how the exercise works, I know my breathing, and I'm following. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So it becomes a continuous flow of muscle and breathing with the tempo. If you finish 12 repetitions, each repetition takes 5 seconds,
Right.
then you get to 1 minute per exercise.
Right.
So after you did this 3, now you got the experience of the exercise. This is the preparation. It's not meant to be perfect, it's meant to, this is what it feels like, this is what it is when I integrate my breathing. Now what we're gonna do is that we're gonna start adding weights. After we got familiar with the exercise, we start doing this with the resistance.
Okay.
So in this case, let's do with the resistance band.
Now the fun begins.
Now the fun begins. The first thing that we're gonna do is the resistance band open. So this is a open resistance band, open-ended. This is a looped resistance band. A looped resistance band has twice as much resistance.
Okay.
So first we're gonna do this with a open-ended. Now you try this exercise for the first time. What we're gonna do is that you're trying to find out which weight takes you only to 12 repetitions.
Got it. So the goal here is to find the weight so that after 12 repetitions in 60 seconds, you just can't go anymore.
Exactly.
That means you've picked the right weight for you. If you can go beyond 60 seconds, it means your weight is too light.
That's right.
That's a really key principle here.
So the way that you're gonna do this with the resistance band is that you step on it and you're gonna hold both ends of this, always in the same height. So hold it close to your chest. And you're gonna do the same movement. You see that when you are at the bottom, because the band is not stretched, there is no much resistance. But as you push, now the band is stretching and now you feel that it's getting heavier.
Right.
So let's try it out. I'm gonna play the beep for you.
Okay.
And you're going to try to reach 12 repetitions. If you see that it's too light, we can change and get something a little heavier.
Right, 3 down, 2 up. 1, 2,
3. Down, up, 11, down, up, 12. Done.
So I can go a little bit more. So
If you can go a
that
little
means
bit
my-
more.
I need to increase the weight. Yeah, I think I can do about 14.
That's
but
right.
This means I need to increase the band, but wow, that was a workout.
Right. So then, if you are now in the gym or at a workout doing this at home, you find out, okay, I did this with a yellow band. I can do a little more. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick the red band and do it again. That will be one of them that you can only do 12. And so let's say that we found a harder resistance band and we are doing these repetitions. And imagine that I am here doing my 9th repetition, 2 seconds up and 3 seconds down. This is my 10th repetition. And imagine that I'm getting that this is very heavy, I'm getting very tired. When I get to this is my 11th repetition. And when I'm getting to my 12th repetition, it's feeling super hard, and I'm here, I can only reach halfway, and I collapse. This is exactly the point that you want to reach.
That is it. So you
This
don't even want to
means-
make 60 seconds.
Right, they are completing, they're finishing, they're failing at
Wow,
the
okay.
12th repetition.
Got it.
This means that in that case, the red band is my adaptive response ideal
Got it.
weight.
Now I want to state, some of you who were following our research in 10X in 2016, 2017, 2018, you may have noticed that back then we were talking about 90 seconds, right? We were talking about
Right.
90 seconds. Now we tested it out. Our team has been testing and testing and testing, and we found that 60 seconds provides more optimal results.
Because you can go a little heavier with that.
You can go heavier, yes, optimal results. Now, the second thing that I remember we tested out, and this made huge gains when I started experimenting on myself with this in August 2019, was the timing, okay? Like 2 seconds, 3 seconds on the eccentric. That timing made a massive difference to me. Now, the third thing that you'll notice that has changed, especially for those of you who are Mindvalley loyalists who've been following our research on this for 2 to 3 years, is that it used to be 5 exercises. It's now 6. We've added a 6th exercise to provide more support for your lower body. And there's another thing that changed. And what was that other thing? It used to be 10 seconds.
The tempo.
It was 4 seconds and 6 seconds, 4 and 6. Now, what we found is that people get better results when it is 2 and 3, the tempo. So these are 4 things that you will notice were different 3 years ago. But again, we don't set things in stone. We are constantly researching, applying science, measuring results, literally measuring people's biceps as they did this, and figuring out what worked best. So what you're seeing right now is the latest, most scientifically proven version of 10X.
And that makes, especially the tempo, makes such a difference, because this is not something that you will see other people training in the gym. How other people train in the gym when they're doing a split squat or something like this is a normal tempo repetition, right? They're doing 1 and then doing 2 and doing 3, and most of the times you're going through the motion but not even
Right.
contracting your muscles. And you saw how Vishen did 12 repetitions, and out of that was out of breath already, because all those repetitions had quality. What ensures the quality of the repetition is the tempo, because you cannot cheat the movement if you're doing this slow.
And I was failing on my 13th, my 14th repetition, but it's that failing that triggers the adaptive response, where your brain is saying, we better give this guy more muscles in his legs, because what if a tiger was chasing him? What if he was lifting a tree trunk that had fallen on his body?
Exactly.
That is the secret, and that can happen in 60 seconds.
So with this process, you try the split squat, and you find a resistance band that you can only find, or you reach failure on the 12th repetition. Now you are ready for the workout. So when you go to your workout, whether in the gym or at home, and you're using a split squat with a resistance band, you're gonna use the one that gave you only 12 repetitions. Then you will figure out that at some point, I did this workout 3 times. In the first time, I failed at 12. Now 12 is no longer challenging. That means that it got stronger, and it's time to increase the resistance band, the resistance to a heavier one.
Right.
And this is how you're gonna do for all the other 5 exercises you're gonna learn in the quest as well.
Exactly. Thank you, Ronan.
My pleasure.
That was amazing. So I knew how to do that in the gym. That was the first time I'd learned how to do it at home. Very, very, very useful. So at this point, folks, you got to see how the 10X protocol works. But many of you may be wondering, well, I've been so conditioned to believe in aerobics. What about the aerobic benefits of this? This seems too short. It seems too optimized. How do we build up endurance? How do we build up aerobic benefits? Lorenzo?
So one of the amazing things about this kind of workout is that we have integrated certain principles of circuit training, which is amazing. So basically, it's not just these freestanding exercises. You perform each exercise, which Ronan has already showed you how to perform each individual exercise. But what's really important to notice is that you move from one exercise to the next exercise in very quick succession. There's no rest period. And so you move from one exercise to the next as quickly as you can. That doesn't mean you rush the exercises. You're always doing 5 seconds per rep, but you're moving from one exercise to the next exercise very, very quickly. Now, why do we do this? Firstly, what we want to do is with the first exercise, which is usually the hardest exercise, it gets our heart rate really high. Then we want to keep it high throughout the entire 15-minute workout. The reason we want to do this is because research has shown that when we elevate our heart rate for at least 130 beats per minute for 15 minutes, this actually will stimulate a cardiovascular adaptation, very similar to basic aerobic training. So now, not only are you getting stronger, you're becoming more psychologically building your stress tolerance, but you're also developing basic aerobic and cardiovascular endurance in a single workout.
So Lorenzo, I want to ask you to show this graph. This was a graph you showed me when you were in the middle of the research stage for 10X. It was a meta-analysis of how all types of exercise are not created equal and how resistance exercise, which is essentially what this is, because you're pushing against a resistance, whether it's a band or a weight, is so much superior to aerobic exercise. Could you explain this meta-analysis, please?
Yes, the reason I put this together because we, again, just like we have a culture who chases exercise programs to burn calories, we have another exercise culture that's all about cardio, and that endurance is the foundation of all fitness. And what I wanted to show here is that of all the things that adapt, remember the adaptive response, that when we do proper exercise, the body will adapt, right? These are the 10 ways the body can adapt to exercise. And so what I'm showing you here is how the body adapts differently from resistance exercises compared to aerobic exercise. And of course, if we can go through each of these quickly, if you see that, of course, that with strength, with resistance exercise, strength goes up significantly. With aerobic endurance, not only does it not improve strength, but it can actually reduce strength. How? Because if you lose type 2 muscle fibers, you lose strength along with it. The second one is power. Of course, our power goes up as our strength goes up. But with aerobic training, the same thing. If we lose strength, if we lose type 2 muscle fibers, we lose power. So with aerobic training, we actually lose our power capacity.
So this is fascinating because aerobic training is producing on average a 29% muscle mass loss. But why is that happening? So when you're doing aerobics, you're burning up muscles, you're losing type 2 muscle fiber, so you're actually reducing your metabolic rate, reducing your strength, and thus you have to keep up with aerobics because your body is no longer burning as much calories as before. But this is baffling. This is absolutely baffling because this is counterintuitive to what the vast majority of people in the world believe. Where is this data from, and how do we know this data is real?
So I put this comparison together. So if you look at any exercise physiology textbook, you can look at the data right there. You can go and look at the resistance exercise adaptations, and then they show you the cardiovascular adaptations, and you can just put them together for yourself and do the analysis.
So this is a meta-analysis over all the research done across exercise, and I just want to share this. Many exercise experts today say that certain things that we take as exercise, for example, jogging. Doug McGuff in his classic book, Body by Science, said running is actually negative exercise. He said the damage caused by running will often manifest after a period of 15 to 20 years of performing the activity, such as when the runners who started in early adulthood reach the age of 40 or 50 and find that they are no longer able to climb a flight of stairs without their knees aching, or experience difficulty in lifting their arms above head level because of osteophytes, bone spurs that are formed in the shoulder joints. And he goes on to say that one of the dangers of aerobic exercise is that you burn away type 2 muscle fiber, and thus your metabolic rate goes down because muscles burn more calories than fat, and so you have to keep running and keep running and keep running just to keep the fat off. And it is a horrible trap that people fall into. And this is why aerobics can be a dangerous addiction. But American society has been seduced to believe that it is actually healthy.
So if you look in the aerobic chart, yes, you do lose fat. You lose 9% compared to 6%. but you have to ask yourself, at what cost? You're losing muscle strength, power, muscular endurance, connective tissue strength. You're losing all of that at the expense of a little bit of fat that you can lose, where you can lose just as much fat on resistance training. So it's just not worth it. And also, where aerobic training can be done, and it should be done intelligently. But even if you had to choose between two types of exercise, if you could only choose one, you don't have all the time in the world, strength training or endurance, absolutely. Do you have to prioritize strength training over your aerobics to live longer and to be fitter and healthier?
Right. So I think what you're saying is aerobics do help you burn fat, and aerobic training does help you build aerobic endurance. You can see that over there, right? You can see that in the graph. But the first exercise you need to do is strength training. And you can do aerobics if you really want to, but you may not really have to, because strength training will also improve your endurance. But primarily, it is far more effective in the fact that because you're putting on muscle, your overall basal metabolic rate, or your metabolic rate at rest when you're sleeping, when you're sitting at your desk, that goes higher. Over time, you start burning more calories, and most of all, it is far less time. Aerobics can take an hour, multiple times a week. Strength training, 30 minutes a week, 2 sessions in the gym.
Plus, think about the impact that it has on your bones. You have strength increasing your bone density and ensuring that you have more longevity in their area, and you have excessive aerobics doing the opposite. Not only you're decreasing your metabolism, but you're making your bones more fragile in the long term.
So I'd like to invite you to enroll in this 90-day program that's going to completely transform your body, add years to your life, and finally help you get that body that you've always dreamed about. Don't buy the BS infomercials. Don't buy American fad diets. When it comes to transforming your body, this is what we've found creates the greatest results. And I want you to know this. We are so confident in our program that you can enroll for 15 days completely risk-free. Enroll in the program, check it out, go deep, start playing with this, and at any point in the first 15 days, if you feel this isn't for you, refund your own money with one click. Our refund is so simple. Log into your Mindvalley account, click refund, boom, the money goes back to you. You don't have to write an email, you don't have to pick up a phone. It is one-click refund anytime in the first 15 days. So enroll in the program. You don't even have to make up your mind right now. Just check it out. Check out the quality of the videos. Say hi to our community. Play with the program. And very few people actually click to get their money back, even though that option is just there. Very few people do it because they fall in love with the community. They fall in love with the transformation. We're betting that in just the first few days, you feel so different. You realize that Mindvalley is going to be your ally for life. And that's exactly what we are trying to do. Get 1 billion people onto this platform. So Ronan, Lorenzo, could you guys take us through what this 90-day program consists of and what we can expect week by week by week?
For sure. The first week of the program equips you with all the different types of exercises to fulfill those 6 movements. Remember, we have those 6 main movements, but there are many options depending on the equipment that you have available, depending on the exercise that works best for you. And so you're going through each one of the exercises and finding what is the best for your body and for the equipment that you have available to fulfill those 6 movements. And you have all the assessments in the beginning. You want to know where you are, not only on your strength, on your work capacity, but you also have some health tests to paint the picture of the beginning of the journey.
So in week 1, Ronan, you learn the big 6, you learn the posture, you learn the refinements, and you're ready to hit the gym or work out from home perfectly with the big 6 exercises.
That's totally true. Now you're equipped with everything that you need to make the most fundamental workouts of this program. Then on week 2 onwards, you start the phase 1. There's 3 phases in this program. And on phase 1, you learn the main workouts that you're gonna do twice a week and how to integrate this with eating. How to integrate this with recovery, because we know that there is only so much that you can do with exercise alone. If they are not paired with eating strategies that make sense, that give your body the raw material to adapt as you are requiring from the adaptive response, there's no results coming out. There's at some point to reach a plateau. So we are giving every week the eating strategies that help you recover from your workout so that you get stronger for the next one. This leads to phase 2 that goes from week 5 all the way to week 10. That answers the question, what if I want to focus on specific muscle groups of my body? You know, some people want to focus more on their shoulders or arms or quads or glutes. How do I improve upon my fundamental workouts to give extra results to these things? So this is when we introduce 9 other exercises. They we call isolation exercises. They are focusing on specific muscle groups. Now you're not only working on your entire body, but you're also focusing on the goals that you have for muscle group development depending on your focus.
And pause for a moment there. I want you to check out Ronan's arms. This is what isolation exercises do. This man is so freaking proud of his arms. He just had them beautifully tattooed.
That's true.
Because they are a work of art. I mean, that's what the isolation exercises do.
So on phase 2, you are learning on how to give the extra mile of your training. And then you also move in the recovery area. Now we covered all the eating strategies and we're going to how you optimize all your recovery. That comes into how you optimize your hydration and your sleep so then you can recover faster from your trainings and you see that your strength starts to improve faster than before.
So a big thing here, you know, one of the things I learned working with you guys is how when it comes to growing muscle, you need recovery.
Right.
Like one of the reasons 10X works is because modern science is showing that if you go to the gym too frequently, you don't give your muscles recovery time and they don't get to grow as fast as they should. So you are supposed to give a certain amount of rest and recovery period for your muscles. We also learned from you the advantages of sleep and why sleep is important for that recovery. So this recovery lesson is so crucial. You know, one of the things I really appreciate about this program and how it's been created is that you learn more than your gym instructor. Every other exercise program, you're just following some guy on the screen who's doing it the way people have been doing it for the last 20 or 30 years on that dumb assumption that the more movement, the more calories you're gonna burn, all will be well. BS, don't buy into that. But with 10X, you get educated on the science of your body. You understand more than your gym instructor. And at the end of the 90 days, you're not just seeing your body transform, your brain has transformed. You know this, you've learned a new skill, and you never see life the same way again.
And that is important because on the 3rd phase, on the last weeks of the program, you are going to learn how to redesign all the entire workout routines depending on your own specific goals and your own specific body. Because in the first 2 phases, in the first 10 weeks of the program, we are driving you around. Imagine that we are in Paris and we are driving the car, we show you the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre Museum, and you are there with us doing the whole routine. In the last couple of weeks, we put you in the driver's seat because you learned the science, you learned the principles before. And now you can, I want to go to Eiffel Tower more times, I want to focus on my strength, or I want to focus more on muscle growth, I want to do a little more, I want to do a little less. I'm more on the efficient side. How do I optimize things? Do you be able to design everything that you put together, everything that you learned, and design a program that is specific for what you want to achieve in the 3rd phase, because you not only executed those trainings, but you also learned the science behind. And this is how the program after that, it doesn't leave you without knowing what to do. When the program ends, you say, what do I do? No, you be equipped and grounded, knowing exactly how your next weeks, months, or even years of training are going to be because you prepared yourself in the previous 10 weeks for that.
So as you can see, this program is beautifully structured, but there's more than just what Ronan said. Now, firstly, you can watch this program anywhere. Your iPad, your desktop computer, Apple TV if you have one, on your Android or iPhone, it's beautifully created. And the principle of this program is you're getting a bite-sized chunk of information every single day for 90 days. And we do this because Mindvalley pioneered a type of behavioral modification curriculum called QUEST, We call it a quest. It's because when you go through a program like that, it's like, it's so addictive. It's like playing a computer game, like a hero going on a quest. You complete every week with so much enthusiasm. And we were able to improve student completion rates by 500% because of this quest structure. This is the structure in which the program is going to be presented to you. So it sticks to you. You know, the best thing about this is you don't have to worry about discipline. Mindvalley programs naturally will stick to you. And there's more. When you join this program, you're joining it as part of a community. You will choose a class start date. You can take it on your own if you want, but you can join a class, which is a group of students taking it together. You're all connected in Mindvalley's private network for students. You will meet new friends. You'll get to have discussions. Ronan, Lorenzo, myself are there. So you start with a group of strangers. You go through it with strangers who become friends, and you cross the finishing line with incredible friendship. That's one of the beautiful things we've constructed as part of this program. Enrolling in a Mindvalley program is not like enrolling in an online course. It's like hiring a personal trainer. We use advanced curriculum design, technology, and our apps to actually move you along so the program sticks to you. At the end of the 90 days, you cannot help but transform. So at this point, if you scroll down below this masterclass, you will see an enrollment page. Don't close this page because we have given you a special bonus, a special discount as a thank you for spending this last hour plus with us. Thank you for being engaged. Thank you for taking notes. Thank you for coming this far. You deserve this discount. So don't close this page, enroll in this page. But you'll notice something else. You can get this program included in your entire Mindvalley package if you become a member. Now, when you become a member, all Mindvalley programs are open to you. Mindvalley is the most advanced education platform in the world. In fact, recently, we issued a challenge to Harvard University. Really simple. We believe that 1 year of Mindvalley gives you greater advantages in life than 1 year studying at Harvard. Our bet with Harvard was to track a group of Mindvalley members and Harvard students over 5 years, and I'm betting $1 million of my own money that Mindvalley students will score better. When you become a Mindvalley member, you're not just enrolling in 10X. No. You're enrolling in a whole new way of life. Everything Mindvalley becomes open to you. You have access to our yoga channel, our parenting channel. You have access to some of the greatest mentors in the world. You get access to entrepreneurship training. And if you're just into health and wellness, you don't just stop at 10X. You get all of Ronan and Lorenzo's and programs by all the other great Mindvalley teachers. After 10X, you might want to do the Longevity Blueprint by Ben Greenfield and train to have the lifestyle of an athlete. Or maybe you want to do Ronan's upcoming program on intermittent fasting. Or maybe you want to go into meditation and mind training to complement your incredible new body. Everything is available to you on the Mindvalley platform. Scroll down below and you will see several other suggested programs that I think you'll really love after 10X, and everything is unlocked for you for just $4.99 a year. Think about that. $4.99 a year. That's less than $2 a day. And imagine how your life is going to transform. And speaking of transformation, check out these amazing stories of some of our 10X students. So, can't wait to see you on board. Ronan, Lorenzo, thank you so much for being here as part of this masterclass.
Thank you, Vishen.
And can't wait